I never intended to push myself this far. Back in the summer of 2015, I was 24, restless and craving solitude after a brutal breakup. I'd read about the old fire lookout tower somewhere deep in the Cascades. No maintained trails, rickety structure, and a reputation for knocking your compass off by the time you reached it. It sounded perfect. I packed light: a sleeping bag, a small stove, 2 days worth of trail mix, water purification drops, and an old flashlight with fresh batteries. No cell service, they said, once you dip below tree line. No one for miles. I liked it that way. I left camp at dawn, the forest floor damp and alive with birdsong. My map was more a rough sketch, a few waypoints scrawled in permanent marker. GPS pinged giggles of no signal each time I dared glance at it. But I followed the ridgeline as they recommended, trusting the moss on the trees. Always north, people say, though honestly, that's a myth. By midday, every tree looked identical. My pack felt heavier. I stopped at a mossy log and ate trail mix by handfuls, staring up at the silent canopy. I should have turned back when the undergrowth thickened so much I had to duck under branches. But stubbornness is a boulder in my chest. I wanted that solitude, wanted an achievement to pin to my chest like a medal I'd earned myself. By late afternoon, I broke into a small clearing. Through the emerald haze of pines stood the tower. It looked like something out of an old postcard. Peeling white paint, metal ladder riveted to the side, windows boarded haphazardly with planks of rotting wood. My heart kicked up. I'd found it. The kind of unfiltered excitement you get when a long-held plan finally crystallizes. I scouted the perimeter. No footprints, no plastic wrappers. The forest floor was a near-perfect carpet of needles. Whoever or whatever visited hadn't come recently, if at all. I hoisted my pack and climbed the ladder slowly, each rung echoing inside the metal frame like a church bell. At the top, I pushed aside the boards covering one broken window, ducked through, and exhaled. Inside was mercifully intact. A wooden platform, just big enough for me to lie down. A small shelf held a rusted kerosene lamp. Cobwebs swayed in the breeze from the broken panes. I set my pack down and let the late afternoon light wash over me in honeyed beams. I lit the lantern and boiled water. The quiet was a balm. In the city, sirens and traffic fill every second. Here I measured time in drifting dust motes and the occasional creak of wind in the rafters. I scribbled in my little journal. Day 1, found the tower, compact but cozy. Air tastes different, pure, or maybe it's just me. No signs of recent visitors. I ate a cold dinner of rehydrated oatmeal and stared out at the treetop horizon. The sun fell behind the peaks, and a violet hush settled. Stars popped like shy fireflies. I fell asleep to the soft whistle of wind through the broken window and dreams of adventure. I woke around midnight, thirsty. Sleep had thinned like gauze. I nudged the lantern. The flame sputtered alive. I poured water slowly, my ears straining for any sound. Everything was still. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. Then, a flicker. Beyond the trees, below the clearing. Something moving. I froze, my heart thundering. It looked like a torch, an orange glow, swaying side to side as though someone was walking with a handheld flame. This far from civilization? No one carried torches in 2015. Flashlights, sure, but this flickered like flame. I blinked. It vanished. I stared through the broken window, eyes red. Could be my imagination. Could be fireflies caught in a spider web. But logic wrestles with survival instinct. Something told me that glow was human, purposeful. I told myself to calm down. I should have gone to bed. But my mind raced. Did someone see me? Did they come here expecting a guide? A rescuer? A victim? I crawled back into my sleeping bag, clutching the flashlight like a talisman, and waited for dawn. I woke again, dawn still hours away, this time to a metallic clink against metal. My blood froze. Footsteps, deliberate and slow, clambering up the ladder outside the tower. My mouth went dry, I couldn't scream or even gasp. I lay perfectly still, listening. The weight on each rung sounded too heavy for a child, too measured for an animal. It was human. Here? I whispered, though I knew the tower offered no secrets. Whoever was out there knew I was here. They climbed higher. The rungs groaned under weight. The steps paused just outside my window. My heart slammed against my ribs like a desperate prisoner. Then silence. I dared not breathe. A single loud thump against the wooden planks covering my broken window. A muffled scrape, like nails or maybe the butt of a rifle, tapping the wood. Then footsteps receded back down. I lay there paralyzed until the sun finally cracked the sky eastward. Only then did I dare pry open my eyes. The world had shifted. The tower was no longer a peaceful refuge, but a cage with an unseen warden. I ate a dry breakfast, hands trembling. Outside, no torch, no footprints. I decided it was time to leave, to run back along the ridge, but my pack was lying where I'd set it the night before. No stolen gear. I snapped a deep breath, slung it on, and climbed down the ladder. On the ground, I pressed my palms against the metal, felt the warmth of early sun. Nothing else. I shouldered my pack and set off east toward where I believed the rim of the valley lay. Every snapping twig, every rustling leaf made me flinch. I kept the flashlight in my hand, torch ready against any shadows. By midday, GPS pinged back to life, weak but enough to guide me. My route curved south, then east. I pushed through a bramble thicket and burst out onto a narrow slope overlooking a silent gorge. The view was jaw-dropping, lush greenery draped over rock faces, fog curling like lazy snakes. My chest tightened. Beauty and terror wove together here. There in the distance, I saw movement among the trees. No lantern this time, but silhouettes. 3 figures standing still, staring at me. They were too far to be clear, but their posture said purpose. They didn't wave or call, they just watched. I swallowed hard, silent prayer on my lips. I backtracked, ducked behind a fallen log, and tried to chart a different path. Anxiety prickled my skin. Did they want me? Why hadn't they made themselves known? I scrambled across mossy stones. Each footstep feels like betrayal, loud in the hush. I made it to a small stream and drank greedily. My reflection in the water, hollow-eyed, sunburned, clutching a flashlight like a lifeline. Night fell again before I found a shallow cave sheltered by twin pines. I built a tiny fire, huddled close, listening as logs hissed. I realized I'd made a rookie mistake. I'd come to this wilderness seeking silence, but silence has its own voice, and it can whisper threats. I wrote in my journal, Day 2. I saw them. Figures in the woods. Someone's watching. I'm exhausted. Still no footprints at tower base. It's like they don't want me to know they were there, yet they do. Lightning flickered on the horizon. Rain began to spit. I extinguished the fire. You don't need more attention than you already have. I wedged myself between the 2 pines, clutched my sleeping bag, and listened to wind rattle branches. I woke to distant thunder and a bright flash. The sky cracked open and rain poured in thick sheets. The forest came alive with roaring water and angry gusts. My cave offered half shelter. I was soaked in seconds. I wrapped myself tighter, teeth chattering. Then I heard it, a voice low and guttural carried by the wind. You shouldn't have come. It felt as if the forest itself spoke. My heart froze. I thought it was the wind. I thought it was thunder, but then the words repeated closer. You shouldn't have come. Panic surged. I scrambled upright. No way I'd stay. I dashed from the cave into the downpour, rain stinging my face, mud sucking at my boots. I ran blindly, trusting only the gut punch instinct that I needed to get far away fast. Branches lashed at me. Roots tripped me. I tasted dirt as I fell. I spat and rose, adrenaline-powered. Lightning illuminated a clearing, and there they were. 4 figures, standing in a circle around the base of the fire lookout, torches in hand, faces blackened by paint or soot. I couldn't see their features, their eyes. They stared up at me as if I'd been beckoned. I skidded to a halt at the edge of the clearing, chest heaving. Rain plastered my hair to my skull. My brain shouted. My feet felt like lead. One of them lifted a torch, flame dancing grotesquely across a painted mask. Why? I shouted. My voice cracked. What do you want? Silence. Then one step forward, torch held aloft. Flames cast shadows that danced across gnarled trunks. He spoke in a low rumble. They left something behind. I cocked my head. Who? I yelled. What's going on? He turned his masked face toward the tower, looming behind them. The lookout keeper, he said. He never left. He barked a short laugh. Not even when they tore him down. An electric chill shot through me. This is stupid, I said. Just let me go. He shook his head, torch sloshing rain. He needs company, otherwise he wanders too much. I stared. The masked man tipped his head toward the ladder. Climb up, he said softly. Offer him company. I snorted, terror and disbelief battling for purchase. I'm not. Before I could finish, the others closed in, silent as wolves. I took a backward step. Mud gave way and I crashed to my knees. Damn pack spilling. I scrambled for it, shrieking in my head. In that moment, I realized what they believed, that inside that tower there was something, someone that demanded attendance. A spirit, a hermit, a monster. I didn't care if they truly believed it or it was some deranged ritual. I cared that they intended to force me into that metal cage. I flailed, kicked, cursed. They bore down on me, rusted torches bobbing above their heads. I managed to break free, tore through the trees, crashing branches, limbs slapping. Screams of wind mingled with my own. They pursued, shoutless but relentless. A torch's glare bounced off wet foliage, always just behind me. My lungs burned, my legs trembled, but every instinct screamed, "Go, go!" I burst back onto the ridge path, saw the dawn horizon bleed pale pink. With one final lurch, I sprinted downhill, gravity on my side, straight toward a faint sound of rushing water, a creek I'd passed earlier. I flung myself across slippery rocks into the shallow current. They came to the water's edge, halted. The lead figure stepped forward, raised his torch as if to thrust it into the water, and it extinguished instantly, fizzling into a plume of steam. They stared at the embers for a heartbeat. Then the lead masked man shook his head and vanished into the trees, shadows swallowing them like spilled ink. I lay there, prostrate in the creek, chest heaving. Rain slowed to a drizzle. Fog drifted across the water. I waited until my legs no longer trembled, then dragged myself out. I stumbled downstream until I found a service road at first light. My boots squelched on gravel. A logging truck rumbled around a bend. I threw my arms up, flagged it down. The driver braked, eyes wide at my drenched, wild-eyed state. He cranked his window down. "Need help?" he asked. I managed a nod. Toward civilization. He didn't ask questions. He shifted into gear and we rumbled away, the tower and whatever haunted it, disappearing into the mist behind us. They searched the woods later, deputies and volunteers, but found no sign of the masked figures or their camp. The tower itself was deemed structurally unsound and torn down that fall. A few boards remained stacked near the forest edge, waiting for firewood. Me, I can't shake the memory. At night, I still freeze if I hear metal creak. When rain patters on the windowsill, I imagine torches flickering in my peripheral vision. And sometimes, when I'm alone in my apartment, I swear I hear someone climbing a ladder, slow, deliberate, just on the other side of the wall. I don't know what they wanted. Companionship for an old forest spirit? A warning to stay away? A hunting ritual twisted beyond reason? I only know that some places are best left unexplored, and some towers best left empty. Because even in silence, the forest remembers, and it never truly lets you go.